Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the last session for the day this Sunday at LitFestx. We are joined with the lovely and very vivacious Anu Hasan coming to us from UK right now. Anu, welcome to LitFestx. Great to have you on board.
Thank you for having me, Kumar. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm sure you don't need an introduction, but to the many viewers from across the country and even abroad, um, Anu Hasan started her career as an actress in 1994, and she went on to play many roles both on screen as well as off screen. Her life has taken many paths, resulting in a very rich and varied a life. She's an actress, she's a presenter, an entrepreneur, and now with Sunny Side Up, her book, a writer. And we are here to have a chat with her, no holds barred. So we are happy to take in questions from the online audience as and when. Um, Anu, let me dive straight into it. Being an actress, being a successful businesswoman, an entrepreneur, what drew you to writing this book?
Well, actually, I have been writing since I was 9 years old. I started writing poetry when I was 9 years old. Of course, it was shocking. I mean, you can imagine the kind of poems a 9-year-old would write. And then I continued writing. I love writing, and somehow because I write so much, the speed at which I translate my thoughts to paper or the screen, as it were, is almost the same. So it's easy for me to put my thoughts down, and I seem to like and enjoy doing that. And nobody till now has actually wanted to kill me because I'm writing, so I suppose I shouldn't be too bad. Yeah.
The fact that you say that nobody wants to kill you because of your writing also means that you're staying on the safe side of the road, right? So you're certainly just writing about your life and not about third parties. So that's a good place to be in.
Yeah, or I'm staying. I'm staying to my life, as you say, and it's controversial enough. But who cares?
Certainly. So, tell us a little about this title. I'm very intrigued. It's a very positive title, but tell us a little bit more about it. Sunny Side Up. Tell us a little more.
Well, actually, people have, if the foreword on my book, that's right here. In this, when I write about myself, I say, everybody always asks me, how come you're so positive? What is it that makes you so happy? It's not that I've got everything going right with my life. There are things that go wrong, and drastically wrong. And the results sometimes are quite horrific. But just because something's going wrong doesn't mean there aren't other things going right. So I tend to look at the sunny side of life always. And I still am writing for a magazine called Just for Women. And the column was called Sunny Side Up. And I thought it was a very apt column even for the book, because it so accurately captures the way I look at life. So that's why. And if you look at my book has a lot of positivity. And I hope that it makes people relate to what I'm saying and try and be as positive as possible about life.
Right. So that's a huge dose of positivity built in right from the title, from your perspective. And what were you setting out to when you thought about writing this book and during the process? I'm sure there must be a certain goal or a certain sort of end in mind.
Well, one of the things on my bucket list was to write a book. Yeah. And so I did. And if you ask me what was the end goal, there was no goal, because I suddenly got excited by this whole idea of getting this book out there. And it looked like I had the material for it. And it looked like it would be something that people would relate to. And if you look at the feedback on Amazon and and on my page as well, most of the feedback seems to center around the fact that, yes, we relate to what you're saying. Yes, life can't be as easy as we want it to be, but we love what you're saying, because our life to a great extent is like this. So this whole thing of doing this book was to reach out to as many people as possible and tell them that even though people might think I am not this, the standard typical Indian woman, I haven't followed the life of a typical South Indian woman. So despite that, there are a lot of similarities, and hopefully there could be some resonance in what I'm talking about.
In the book, you've obviously covered with a lot of honesty about your life and incidents and people, characters. Are you like that, in your day-to-day life as well, or are you being overtly honest, and too candid in your book? I mean, tell us a little bit about yourself in life in general and the book.
Well, me as a person, you know what they say, you are three things: what other people think you are, what you think you are, and what you really are. So obviously the third one is a black box. We really don't know. What other people think I am is that I'm this incredibly lucky person who's had all good things happening to her. She's doing well and she's happy. That's what other people think I am. What I think I am is, yes, I've had some good things happen to me, but let's not forget that there have been bad things that have happened to me. And I think my strength is the fact that I can be positive about what has happened and honest about my faults. The other approach is, I think if I am critical of myself, I can beat other people to it, right? I've gotten there first before they can get there. So I've already put it out there. Look, this is me, and no expectations as to, how much approval I'm going to get from anyone else. And this is me. So yes, I do tend to be a little too honest for many people's liking or comfort, for that matter. In fact, my aunt who read the book, she said, "You are too honest. When you talk about your own faults, you're too honest." But I think you have to be, because if you want to share your experiences and the lessons that you've learned from those experiences, if you're going to couch it into something that's going to be so, perfect for the outside world, it's not going to be perfect, because the result you want is not that. You don't want people to think you're perfect. You want people to say, hey, I can relate to this, and yes, that's a lesson I too would be able to learn and apply. So I think, yes, I'm too honest. Honesty has a price, and I'm willing to pay that price.
No, certainly, Anu. Irrespective of what price one pays for honesty, it is, as the adage goes, it's the best policy. And I'm sure even in your life, as you just mentioned, the bad comes with the good and vice versa. And one can't always expect everything to be hunky-dory or a bed of roses. Tell us about some of the incidents or some of the ideas that you have shared in the book. Give us a sneak peek.
Okay, yeah. So what I've done is I have split it into different parts. So the book is structured in such a way that you can pick it up and start from any chapter. So it's not a flow, a chronological flow. It's just a subject-wise, it's broken up into chapters. So I've got friends, parents, being a woman, anger, impatience, and me, like that. So I think when it comes to my favorite chapter, obviously it's parents, because I think I was quite a handful. I still am. I think I quite bewilder them with the way I am with respect to my approach to life and my choices. And even as a child, I remember, and even as a young adult, one of my best lessons came from my father, and I would love to share it on any forum. And at the risk of repeating myself, I'm doing it again, because many of the people who are watching this now have probably heard it. But I think for those who have not heard it, I think it's a beautiful anecdote, and I would love to share it. So this goes back to my college days. I just entered college, and I am, in school, I was supposed to be this really intelligent child who got great marks without trying. So I got into BITS Pilani thinking I was Einstein, right? And then BITS Pilani has the cream of the cream. You've got all these really, truly intelligent people coming in there, not deluded people like myself. And then I said, in school, I didn't study. I still managed to get either first or second or whatever. So I think the same will apply here. And I started off like that. Unfortunately, BITS wasn't like that, because it is a CGPA system. So you are compared with the scores that other people get. So you are not on an absolute, but in comparison with the others. So 3 test series happened. At the end of it, I realized, oh no, it looks like I'm going to fail. So I'm much given to melodrama. So I called my father and mother and I said, I think I'm going to fail. I'm not fit for studying. I'm going to come back. So my mom comes on the phone and she said, what are you going to do? You're going to come home and wash vessels or what? Okay, just talk to your dad. So my father comes on the phone and he says, why do you think I sent you to BITS Pilani? And I said, you sent me there to study. He said, no, I sent you there to learn about life. And I think you just learned your first lesson. And that lesson was, you made your decisions, you made your choices. Now bear the consequences. So as a result, what happened was I realized, okay, this is my mess up. Now I have to get through it. So I really worked very hard and I managed to clear all my papers. And I continued working hard and I got out in first class, which is supposed to be a great achievement for a girl who was always amongst the top, okay? But it was a great lesson because even in life, that's what it is. You make your decisions and you bear the consequences, and no point moaning about it. Just pull up your socks and get on with it. I think this is an anecdote I'd love to share with people, which is what I've just done.
That's so true and so fantastic, Anu, because clearly a lot of people, including your readers or the general public as well, we always get complacent. And what you just shared, I think, is a story around how one should not get complacent. And also, on the other hand, like you mentioned, it's something about what you learned from your father. So
Yeah.
it's also a story about how parents, in their own ways, can influence us in such a positive way, and teach us things without actually teaching it to us. So it's not that he brought you down with pen paper for a conversation to say, this is what life is about. So this is a brilliant story.
Also, the ability to laugh at yourself is very important. As an actress, I find that having a sense of humor is a great advantage, because this is an anecdote which I'm not sure if I've shared in the book, but if I haven't, it'll be there in my next book. So what happens is people look at me in real life and they tell me, Anu, on screen, you look fat and you look old, but in person, you're not as bad, okay? Now, you wouldn't actually go and tell this to a normal person. Just because I'm on screen, people lose their inhibition and they say things without realizing that these could be offensive statements. And my response to that, I always laugh and I say, thank you. And they say, why? I said, no, you see, this is the face I have to live with. If you had told me, oh my God, you look fabulous on screen and you look like a monkey in real life, I'd have been very upset. I'm glad I look personable in real life. So that's fine. Thank you very much. So instead of getting upset and losing your confidence, I think you should just brush it off and just take it all with a sense of humor, especially if you're in the public eye.
Sure. And that's certainly true, given the fact that you're donning so many different hats. I mean, it's not like you've stopped acting. So you've been acting, you've been writing, you've been running your own business. At that point, let me ask you, so how are you juggling different things? Are you currently also acting for your next film, or what's going on?
Yes, it's a good question. How do I juggle? It's simple. I just live in the moment and I rely on this. This is my phone. It's got my calendar. Whatever appointments I have in whatever sphere I am in, I make sure it's on there. And I've linked it to my Gmail account so I get these alerts. So if I've got a business meeting that's coming up in Copenhagen, then that comes up. If I've got a Malayalam film shoot, which I'm going to be doing in Trivandrum, which is going to happen in the next 1 or 2 weeks, that's on there. So I'm very organized and I have to be, otherwise there's no other way I'm going to be able to keep up with all the things that I do. And the second thing is I try not to look at my workload beyond the moment. Right now, I'm talking to you. I'm not, for instance, right after this, I have a cricket match I'm going to try my hand at, okay? So I could be stressed about it and think, oh my God, I haven't done this, I haven't done that. But I'm not going to think about that because right now I'm talking to Kumar and all the audience who are watching this, and that's what I'm going to focus on. So it's very important to be focused on what you're doing right now, and also to be confident that you know what you need to be doing after this, and it's all there, documented somewhere, and you can rely on it and just follow it. So that's how I managed to handle different things. Works for me.
And tell me about the time when you realized, or when you decided, saying that, okay, I need to uh, tick off another item on the bucket list, which is to become a published author. When was that? How did it happen?
I'd been mulling over this idea for about, oh, I don't know, forever, I suppose, as far as I can remember. So I was thinking about it. And then when members of my family said, you know what, you've been writing columns all this while. Why don't you restructure the content, add fresh content, and see if you can come up with something? So this was about a couple of years ago. So I think about 2, 3 years ago when that idea came up, I just, I'm very like that. I don't think about it. I just straight away jump into it. So I just jumped into it and started working on it. It did take me about a year and a half, but yeah, I managed to do it. So that's how it happened. And I was very lucky because my agent is Priya from Lotus Lit. And so Priya spoke to HarperCollins, and HarperCollins were very interested with this whole concept because it seemed like a novel concept to them. And so they said, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. And so that's how, it was all being at the right place at the right time, having Priya, knowing one of my friends who spoke to her about me, and then she speaking to HarperCollins, and they were ready for that. And therefore, it all just happened. So that's how it all turned out to be where,
In life, when certain things have to happen, they just happen, right?
they do.
So now that you're tasting success with your first book, what are your plans? Are you planning on writing more books, or is it more of acting right now?
If they'll have me as an author, because I have been thinking, should I write another book along the same lines, or should I write fiction? I'm not sure because I've not tried my hand at fiction. So I think I'd like to try my hand at fiction. Maybe write a nice, happy story. Of course, I'm not the kind who likes to write negative stuff. So even if there is something depressing, I'd like to say that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and no, it's not an approaching train. So yes, I'd like to do something positive. So yeah, I think I would like to write another book, but I'm also acting. I'm working on EastEnders here on BBC. So that's also happening. I'm working for Ivy Mobility, so that's also happening. I am greedy. I want it all. I don't want to give up one for the other. So I'm hoping that I'll continue to be able to juggle everything and also continue writing.
Lovely, lovely. In the book, there are notes to yourself in the book, and what's been the reader's reaction to that?
Why don't we do it this way? Here's my book. I'm just going to randomly open a page and see what notes to self pops up. Yeah. And I'll just read it out to you.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. This is in the chapter called Divorce. And I'm saying, in all important things in life, when taking a stance, a balance has to be struck. But at what price? Do we keep quiet so we do not rock the boat? Or do we risk drowning in the displeasure of a male-dominated society? So the reason that this note to self is a question is you have to choose your decision, right? There are times when you have to speak up, and there are times when you can't afford to. So you have to choose it. And then if you choose it wisely, then I think you're on a safer path. And sometimes the risk is worth it. Sometimes the risk is not worth it. So that's one thing. And people have reacted to this divorce chapter where they've said, even people who are not divorced have come up to me and said, we really can relate to how you feel about it. Maybe you've taken the choice to go in for a divorce and we haven't, but I can relate to you as a woman. I relate to you that freedom is important, and at the same time you want the closeness that you get from a partnership. So it's a difficult balance. So I've got that feedback. And if you take another random page, it says, if you are uncomfortable in a situation, listen. It will always give you a clue on what to say next. So if I go quiet when I'm talking to you, Kumar, you know why. I don't know what to say.
I hope in the limited time left, I don't have to encounter that quietness from you.
It's quite unlikely, yeah, but yeah.
So, what do you enjoy most then? It seems you're having fun doing all of it. You're acting in EastEnders. You're going to be acting in your upcoming Malayalam movie. You're doing a bit of writing. You're presenting. You're enjoying your role as a woman entrepreneur. What is that out of all these? If I was to ask you to just pick one, which is that one?
Very difficult. It starts, I think, right from my name. People think my name is Anu Hasan. No, it's not. It's Anuradha. So everyone outside the family calls me Anu. Everyone in the family calls me Radha. So it's like asking me, are you Anu or are you Radha? I am both, actually, right? And both are very different personalities. The public persona of Anu Hasan is someone they see only as an actress and a presenter, right? Or a businesswoman. But the Radha, the goofy person, the family sees, yeah? And at times I love being goofy and I like being dignified as Anu as well. So it's something that balances me out. So similarly, in all the things that I do, if you think what is that I love most, I think I would choose writing as my top choice, because I never notice the time go by when I'm writing. My second choice would be presenting talk shows, because I love people, I love listening to people, and I love showcasing a person's good points, and bring out the lessons that we can learn from their experience, which is what I did in Coffee with Anu. So that would be my second choice. And I really need the business and the corporate side of things, because I feel it keeps my brain active. So I love that as well. So 1, 2, and 3. And acting, I like it because I don't mean to sound arrogant, but it's easy and I enjoy it. So.
And so, tell me a little bit more about your love for talk shows. What have you been doing there?
Right. I think people in India are familiar with Coffee with Karan, and I did the Tamil version of it, which was Coffee with Anu. It was. I'm really pleased to say that it was a successful show, and it was the longest running talk show. It ran for almost 4.5 years, I think. And we had people from all walks of life coming on the show. We had actors, politicians, and we had musicians. We had A.R. Rahman. We had cricketers like Muthaiya Muralidharan. So it was such a beautiful experience for me, because I was able to interact with all these highly accomplished people. It was almost as if I was in their living room and we were having a chat. And I loved it. And people liked it because I think I had no airs about myself. I know my limitations. I'm not going to go there and pretend to be super intelligent and super hot and sexy. That's not my point. I'm there to showcase and portray the positive side of the guests on my show. So, the guests were very comfortable, and so they used to talk really well with me. And the people liked it because I wasn't constantly talking over the guests and trying to show how smart I was. So people could actually see some of the hitherto unseen, sides of whom they thought were public personalities. And I loved doing that show because it was an enriching experience for me as well. I learned a lot. For instance, one of the greatest actors we've had, Manorama Avargal. So she recently passed away. And, I consider it my honor to have been able to interact with her. And I still remember her calling me Anuma. She calls me Anuma. And she said, when you're climbing the ladder of success, remember to say hello to everyone on your way up, because you will come down. And when you come down, if you haven't been nice on your way up, they will want to whack you on your head. So, these kind of really lovely, simple philosophies that were passed on to me, which I thought was a great learning for me. So that's why I love talk shows as such.
Lovely. And it sounds really exciting what you managed to gain out of it as a person. Of course, I'm sure professionally it was good for you as well, but it sounds like a very enriching experience personally too.
It was.
On the next step, you mentioned that you might be looking at another book. So will it be another great self-help book, if I can call Sunny Side Up? or are you going to be working on a book which will be more of an autobiography?
Well, autobiography, I don't think I'm quite ready yet, because I feel you should write it at the end of your life. And hopefully I am not there yet. I think the best is still ahead of me. There are lots of things I want to try, lots of things I want to do. So I think in about 20, 30 years time, I'd be ready to do that. But I might do another Sunny Side Up, a sequel to Sunny Side Up, because I have had very positive responses and I've got lots of other things that I would like to share. But right now, I'm really sorely tempted to try my hand at writing fiction. So I'm going to try that first. But I do need to set the time aside, because when I was writing Sunny Side Up, I was very disciplined. I set aside 2 hours every day, come what may, and I focused on it and I wrote. I haven't started doing that, but I should. And I think if I do that, it would be a fiction. And on my page, Facebook page, which I have as for the author, so there I have asked people for suggestions, and the suggestion seems to be overwhelmingly leaning towards fiction.
Okay, okay. So it's good to know that you're using social media to sort of get responses, interact with your fans and readers on what they should be expecting from you.
Yes.
It's also a good time now to take in maybe a question or two from our online audience. I'm just going to pick one question up, which I'm seeing on the Twitter feed. It says, Anu, is there a favorite story or moment in the book? And how would you describe the journey of becoming an author? I think you could just answer the first one, which is there a favorite story or moment in the book?
Well, I think that question has come in a little late, because I already told you about my favorite moment in the book, which was the lesson that my father taught me. So then, yeah, that is the thing about, I sent you to college to not study, but to learn about life. And that is my favorite thing. The other thing would be, so I would go to the second favorite. The second favorite is about facing fears. I believe as a child, that favorite story is, as a child, Subaka, there used to be a family who used to be very close to us in Trichy, where I grew up. So Subaka and I apparently, I used to hang out a lot with them. And in school, there was an incident where one girl got bullied by another, and I stepped in, and then the girl who was bullying the other girl turned to me and said, "Oh, you know what? You're going to come and visit Subaka, aren't you? So when you come, I'm going to set my dog on you." So this is what she said. So apparently what I did was, that weekend when I visited Subaka, Akka and Tamal is elder sister. When I went to visit Subaka, I said, "Akka, I want to go to that girl's house. Will you come with me?" So I took her there and I told her, "You wait here." And then I opened the gate, walked in, knocked on the door, and I told the girl, "I am here now. You said you're going to set the dog on me. Go on now. Where's your dog?" And this is an 8-year-old child, okay? I do not remember this incident, but everybody in that family, Subaka's family, they remember, and they said, that was a sign of things to come, because you are the kind of person who faces fears. And I say, yes, face your fears, because when you don't face your fears, your imagination makes it out to be worse than it actually is. So don't let your imagination take control. Face your fear. It's not as bad as you think. So that would be a favorite anecdote.
And that is certainly a really, really, I should say, inspiring anecdote, Anu. It's a short and simple one, but as you said, coming from an 8-year-old at that time, and it's just fantastic. And I'm sure
I look like as if I'm an observer, because I don't remember me as a child doing it. So obviously, and now I would kind of not be surprised, because I would do it even now. Okay, but now I'm an adult. But for an 8-year-old child, that shows the, the thing of things to come, right? So yeah.
So, on that note, Anu, thank you so much for being on LitFestx, and we hope that your book continues to do well. We wish you great success in your upcoming Malayalam movie, in your television show, in your entrepreneurial efforts, and remain fearless, remain inspiring as you are, and if you have a message about LitFestx to give to our viewers, please do so right now.
Yes, thank you. Kumar. I'm really excited to be a part of this initiative because it's the first ever of its kind. So I do love it that you're taking this initiative, and also this is the kind of platform that can reach out to a really a large audience out there, and the reach can be tremendous. And I wish you and the team at LitFest a lot of success, and look forward to being with you again soon. Thank you very much for having me.
Likewise. Thank you. Thank you so much for your wishes. Thank you.